Welcome to Washington America Show with international multimedia journalist, multidimensional, multifaceted artist and director of Human Rights Justice Council USA, Dr. Kashif Sohail.
The Electoral College was established by the U.S. Congress in 1789. Why? The Founding Fathers did not like the idea of a popular election. They were concerned that presidents would always come from states with high populations. They also wondered if the public would have the knowledge necessary to make a wise choice. Obviously, they did not have 24-hour news services as we do today. When people cast their votes, they are actually voting for a group of people called electors. The number of electors each state gets is equal to its total number of senators and representatives in Congress. Each elector casts one vote following the general election. The candidate who gets 270 votes or more wins.
In other U.S. elections, candidates are elected directly by popular vote. But the president and vice president are not elected directly by citizens. Instead, they're chosen by electors through a process called the Electoral College. An electoral system or voting system is a set of rules that determine how elections and referendums are conducted and how their results are determined. Political electoral systems are organized by governments, while non-political elections may take place in business, non-profit organizations, and informal organizations.
An electoral college is a set of electors who are selected to elect a candidate to a particular office. Originally, the Electoral College provided the Constitutional Convention with a compromise between the popular election of the president and congressional selection. The 12th Amendment changed the original process, allowing for separate ballots for determining the president and vice president. Electoral systems are the detailed constitutional arrangements and voting systems that convert the vote into a political decision. The first step is to tally the votes, for which various vote counting systems and ballot types are used. Voting systems then determine the result on the basis of the tally.
The election of the President of the United States is a two-step process. First, voters cast ballots on Election Day in each state. In nearly every state, the candidate who gets the most votes wins the electoral votes for that state, and gets that number of voters, or electors, in the Electoral College. If the House of Representatives has not chosen a president-elect in time for the inauguration, noon on January 20th, then the vice president-elect becomes acting president until the House selects a president. Primary elections, often abbreviated to primaries, are a process by which voters can indicate their preference for their party's candidate, or a candidate in general, in an upcoming general election, local election, or by-election.
Three criticisms of the college are made: it is undemocratic, it permits the election of a candidate who does not win the most votes, and its winner-takes-all approach cancels the votes of the losing candidates in each state. The popular vote is not used to determine who is elected as the nation's president or vice president. This is because presidential elections are indirect elections. The votes cast on Election Day are not cast directly for a candidate, but for members of the Electoral College.
Like the general election, presidential caucuses or primaries are indirect elections. The major political parties officially vote for their presidential candidate at their respective nominating conventions, usually all held in the summer before the federal election. The United States Constitution has never specified the process. Political parties have developed their own procedures over time. Some states hold only primary elections, some hold only caucuses, and others use a combination of both. Each party determines how many delegates it allocates to each state.
A closed primary system governed California's primary elections until 1996. In a closed primary, only persons who are registered members of a political party may vote the ballot of that political party. Plurality voting is an electoral system in which each voter is allowed to vote for only one candidate, and the candidate who polls the most among their counterparts, a plurality, is elected. In a system based on multi-member districts, it may be referred to as winner-takes-all or block voting.
Currently, as in most states, California's votes in the Electoral College are distributed in a winner-take-all manner. Whichever presidential candidate wins the state's popular vote wins all 55 of the state's electoral votes. In 48 states and D.C., the winner of the plurality of the statewide vote receives all of that state's electors. In Maine and Nebraska, 2 electors are assigned in this manner and the remaining electors are allocated based on the plurality of votes in each congressional district.
Today, all but 2 states, Maine and Nebraska, award all their electoral votes to the single candidate with the most votes statewide, the so-called winner-take-all system. Unlike primary elections in most other U.S. states, where registered voters go to polling places to cast ballots, Iowans instead gather at local caucus meetings to discuss and vote on the candidates. The Iowa caucuses used to be noteworthy as the first major contest of the United States presidential primary season.
Super Tuesday is the United States presidential primary election day in February or March when the greatest number of U.S. states hold primary elections and caucuses. The phrase Super Tuesday has been used to refer to presidential primary elections since at least 1976.
Plurality voting is an electoral system in which each voter is allowed to vote for only one candidate, and the candidate who polls the most among their counterparts, a plurality, is elected. In a system based on multi-member districts, it may be referred to as winner-takes-all or block voting. Voters in each state choose electors by casting a vote for the presidential candidate of their choice. The slate winning the most popular votes is the winner. Only 2 states, Nebraska and Maine, do not follow this winner-take-all method.
Politics is the way that people living in groups make decisions. Politics is about making agreements between people so that they can live together in groups such as tribes, cities, or countries. The study of politics in universities is called political science, political studies, or public administration. We have democracy in the United States. It is the government of the people, by the people and for the people. It's a form of government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by them or by their elected agents under a free electoral system.
Please share this video, subscribe to our channel.